up here, Domonique. We got Jacoby down bottom, and we have Izzy, who can hear us, but I don't think we can hear him. Which
Can you hear me?
no,
Yes.
Hello.
we can't.
We
It's
can hear you now.
fantastic. Oh, we can? Ah, boo! It was gonna be so much more fun making fun of him, and then he can't react.
I'm out on this island all by myself. Sometimes you got to
Really excited to see how you transition this one into the Sarver story.
Oh no, I have no problem. I'm gonna keep us laughing right into the transition to the somber story. I ain't do nothing wrong. I don't gotta be somber because he's a monster. I'm gonna laugh and be happy.
I like that.
Be
I like
merry.
that.
I mean,
laugh right through it.
Jacoby. I'm a black dude. I've had to laugh through painful things for a long time, Jacoby. I love awkwardness. Let's think.
I would say, I was about to say I understand, but I literally don't understand.
I mean, you have had tough time. I mean, you're black by marriage-ish.
That's not how it works. That's not how it works, actually.
You don't tell me that. I tell you that.
Okay, yes, this is
calling-
You know what the hold music
I'm
means.
calling HR. The whole music, yes. We got a tweet. Tell people to join in.
I did it.
I already did my tweet, and I
did
even
mine
told
too.
people to participate. I told them to be mean but funny. I'm fine with being insulted as long as I laugh in the process. So
I have a long-standing motto: you can be mean if you are funny.
that's a good motto. This music feels a little.
Oh, there's some comedians out there who are willing to challenge that, but
Maybe
some canceled comedians in
maybe
particular.
they're not funny, and maybe they need to just be funnier. So anyway,
True.
all right. First story. Let's get sad.
All right, we begin today with what is your reaction to the allegations in Baxter Holmes' piece on the Suns and owner Robert Sarver?
So first of all, the allegations. I feel like the word allegations needs another S because it was like 40 of them. Like there
We
were,
need to talk this through because this was a long story that
Yeah.
just came out recently. So there's a lot of people who are either on the toilet right now, still going through it, or haven't even touched it yet. So let's see what we're talking about here.
Yeah, so we had racism and sexism or misogyny. He's made a lot of people uncomfortable. He's using the N-word. He actually admitted to quite a few, or not quite a few, to some of the allegations. He denied many others. He was showing pictures of his wife in a bikini. He was talking about oral sex that he received. He was degrading his employees, making them feel uncomfortable, pulling down the pants of certain employees, male employees, to make people laugh, threatening Earl Watson. He had to fire his agent or he couldn't work there. What else? Anybody want to go in on this?
Well,
I mean, if you want to get a little bit more specific in the conversation, I believe you had with Earl Watson, where he was repeating the N-word that another player said, and then Earl had to suddenly tell him, you can't say that. Supposedly that happened more than once with that language. He denied that. He vehemently denied actually ever saying it or calling a group of people that. And yeah, there's just so much there. It feels very much like, a power-hungry billionaire, which, I mean, it's essentially what he is. Like, if you look at that behavior and if you watch, say, Successions or Billions, like, you'd think that that's the type of stuff that happens behind those doors all the time, except, yeah, it can't happen in real life, at least not these days, and it just feels like a guy who, a rich guy stuck in the 1980s and doesn't realize it's been 40 years.
I don't think that any of us are surprised by this. Anyone who has followed Robert Sarver's career, we'll call it, in the NBA. And I think that when you turn under these type of stones, these are the kind of things that we're not surprised to see. One of the things that I did find particularly notable about, I don't even know why we're calling them allegations, but I guess we kind of have to journalistically, is that a lot of it happened like in all staff meetings. This isn't just like around the office or at the bar after work. This is like in official meetings. He's using this type of language and making innuendo and things of that nature, which is just surprising to even me, knowing that this guy was a monster even before Baxter Holmes' piece came out.
Even the potentially progressive things, as you could argue, he did them for the wrong reasons. So, like, he trumpets his history of hiring black coaches and general managers, but in the piece, he also says that the reason why he was doing that is because N-words need N-words to relate to. I mean, allegedly, right? We still have to say that journalistically. Allegedly, that's what he said. And I think in the piece, I just read the piece. It just came out at noon, so all of us tried to cram it. So I hope Alabaster can jump in and correct us if we make any mistakes. But I think in the piece, he also admitted to saying that he has said it in the past. I think he said it once in the past, which is an interesting admission, but he used that to say, I guess that's like presenting like, see, I'm telling the truth. I did it that one time when I was young, but then I got older. It got smarter.
One thing that stuck out to me amongst this absolute like drowning in terrible behavior that's in this piece is there's a James Jones quote where he's like, "This is not the Robert Sarver that I know." And James Jones is famously like runs the front office there and has made some great personnel moves. But I'm curious to hear what you guys think about that particular sort of backing of Sarver from him.
Well, it's interesting, right? It kind of feels like I know James pretty well. Actually, the link I always mention is we went to the same gifted program in elementary school, Sable Palm. Shout out Sable Palm.
Oh my God!
And James Jones, I did it. Pablo's not here. Somebody has to do something nerdy. And so and I think I love James Jones. He's one of the most level-headed people in this league that I've ever seen. And while he's been in that organization both as a player and now as a GM. And it feels like, and this is, anybody who would want to protect their job and say, use certain language, it feels like, maybe James Jones only sees what he wants to see, or maybe James Jones is, projecting what he's talking about with the current Robert Sarver, maybe a Robert Sarver who has, seen all his issues and then calmed down a little bit. Perhaps that's the case. I always wonder, what those statements would be like from an employee, a high-level employee under a person like that, right? Because James Jones, what is he really going to say that is not going to potentially cost him his job there? So that part's dangerous. The part that really bothered me is, yes, the players are obviously affected in this, right? And that's the first place that people go to when they hear these stories. But the other employees throughout the organization, I mean, they, especially the women throughout that organization who feel completely demeaned at all times, according to this story, and one woman who said she contemplated suicide because she felt so terrible after the way she'd been treated for, over a good course of time. That's the stuff that, people don't recognize that is really important. That's the stuff that people take home with them, right? We talk about James Jones and what his career, if he were to leave Phoenix, somebody else in the front office would probably look for him to take over their jobs, right? But if you're talking about your personal career as a lower level employee, not being able to say anything, feeling powerless, taking all that stuff home, and this is where, the mental health stuff that we talk about these days doesn't really get talked about enough, like the stuff that you take home with you. This is happening, and he's doing this and promoting that type of behavior throughout the organization. So that's why it's not just him; it's the entire organization that had become a problem because of him, at least allegedly. And so I think this is one of those questions where it just makes you look at the previous situation with the Clippers and say, hey, can the NBA also take this team away from Sarver? This story is a lot of he said, she said throughout. There are some things he admitted to. There are some things that, there are multiple witnesses to, so you probably can't really doubt those things. But it seems like there might be enough there, but it also seems like there's enough there for Robert Sarver to be able to talk his way back from and keep his team.
I mean, you said a lot. So, like, the James Jones thing, like, he was one of several, like, current people who it feels like kind of felt like they had to say something. So I honestly don't put a whole bunch of credence in that as much as I put in the multiple allegations from former employees. Like, that seems to me to be a little bit firmer of something to lean on. But the thing about this, it speaks to me, is it reminds me somewhat of like Ray Rice and also, I guess, Donald Sterling, in that the video and audio evidence, like, it changes things. So the allegations in here are just as strong or probably stronger than the audio evidence that we had from Donald Sterling. But I think it's going to be a lot more difficult to get people, or to get the league to act in this case, because I don't expect it to be the same reaction that we had for that, because everyone had to hear it. It's so much different when you hear and see things. As sad as that is the case. And I remember when they were running Donald Sterling out of the league, I remember Mark Cuban saying that they didn't want to set this precedent. He was kind of the only one outspoken saying that it was a problem. And now I think the NBA is going to be in a tough situation where they've already set the precedent that if you are caught saying the N-word, you get your team taken. And I know that Donald Sterling had a long track record of other things for people to be upset at him about, but so does Sarver. So, like, it's going to be interesting how they maneuver around this and not treat him the same way that they treated Donald Sterling.
I think you make a really good point drawing these parallels, because it's very difficult to sort of take an owner out of that position or governor out of that position unless they do something extremely egregious. And you mentioned the Ray Rice because it is different when you actually hear it. However, Baxter Holmes did his homework. Like, he talked to 70 plus people. When you talk to one or two former employees, they could be disgruntled. They could feel like they were unfairly treated, especially when they lose their jobs. But the sheer quantity and the multiple witnesses to singular incidents tells me that I think this is actionable. And I think that Adam Silver probably knew that this was coming, and he's probably prepared for this, but he's in a very difficult position right now. So I ask you, Izzy, what does Adam Silver do in reaction to the publication of this?
Well, it's interesting because I was thinking about this and, like, what can the league do? What has it done in the past? And has this stuff, this Robert Sarver rumors, has this been out there? Have players known about it? Have other executives known about it? Have other agents known about it? Yeah.
Yes.
And has it affected the Phoenix Suns negatively in this span? I'd say yeah, but this is also a team that's on the come up right now, right? It's a positive story. Chris Paul, everybody loves them. They went to the finals, and so will the product on the court eventually sort of let this stuff die down? Because a lot of people knew about Donald Sterling's personal behaviors, right, and sort of held back on that. And so it wasn't until, obviously, the recording came out. And so this story, is this enough to push it over the edge? Are there going to be more people that come out that maybe played for the organization that Baxter didn't talk to? I don't know how many people are left that he didn't talk to, but if there are people left that he didn't talk to, will they then come out and give more evidence, and then all of a sudden the league has no choice in this? So I do think that right now there probably isn't enough. I don't think it's enough of I don't think it matches the precedent of Sterling, but it could still get there.
Yeah, I mean... So I disagree with you on matching the precedent, but I do agree that I don't think anything happens. Also find it interesting that poor Chris Paul, I mean, he's at the center of this again. He's the team leader on another team where an owner gets outed for being a racist and misogynist. But I think that it's important to look at this decision-making process through the proper prism. I think we often look at these situations and try to determine what's going to happen based on how egregious the offense was. And that's not what guides the decision-making for a commissioner of the league. Like, when you are a commissioner of the league, public-facing in that way, or leader, honestly, of any public-facing organization, whether you're going to say this honestly or not, what guides you, what pushes your hand is the reaction, the public reaction. Mm-hmm. That's what they responded to back then. It's the team, the athletes in the league, the players took a strong position, and then the public took a strong position. I think that was because they kept hearing it. They kept hearing it. It's one one audio clip that they kept hearing, that they had to react to, and the momentum built behind it. As thorough as Baxter Holmes' story is, there's not that one piece of evidence that people are going to galvanize around.
That's my point. Right.
So the public outcry and the players, I don't imagine they are going to put the momentum around this, to put the pressure on Adam Silver that they would have to put on him to do this. So, like, we can't expect Adam Silver to do this out of benevolence of his heart, or to do this out of the precedent that was set. He, like the NFL, like MLB, like ESPN, frankly, like any major company, they kind of more react to what's happening, to the pressure that's being put on them in the public outcry, than they do to the violation itself.
For certain.
Well,
I do think that one of the things that one of the quotes that really burned me was I think one of his colleagues or somebody saying essentially that he is not this dumb person in business. He basically acts he's smart enough to recognize what he's doing with the Suns is wrong, and it just makes me think, that whole stuck in the 80s comment, like, this is their plaything. Like, this isn't a business, this is just the rich man's plaything, and it's 100% a business. There are plenty of careers and lives at stake as a trickle-down effect, so it's not just your plaything that you can treat everybody and everything or everybody within that organization inappropriately. Like, you are the CEO of a major corporation and act like one.
I thought it was interesting that Michelle Roberts, and again, I haven't read the whole story, but I've read the first third of it, is that she sort of deflected a little bit and said, like, I haven't really spoken to Sarver about this. I've spoken to Chris, and we haven't heard any direct allegations. She kind of said, well, this is all new to me, and kind of deflected. And somebody tells me that if the players put pressure on her, that she might have to then turn and talk to the league and sort of try to force their hand into taking action.
Right, yeah, I mean, she works for the players in the same way that Adam Silver works for the owner. So if that happens, or when it happened the last time, I'm sure Michelle Roberts was quite involved when it seemed like all the players were turning against Donald Sterling. But we'll see how they react to this now. Like, I don't want to rush through this topic.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm with you, Dom. It's like we need a smoking gun in this situation, right? Like you need the video, audio, or some sort of email, right? That's why it's so important to have things written down these days, because everything over the phone is just, a conversation. It's a he said, he said. If these emails come out that the league is afraid of, that's a whole different conversation.
Oh, emails. Yes, I'm sure there's plenty of stuff in those emails, but they won't release them. Oh, we're talking about basketball, not football. That's a whole nother basket of emails that we will never see, but I would love to. Is there anything else you guys want to hit on this topic? I don't want to rush through this one if we missed anything. I think we covered all the...
I do want to say that Izzy brought up Succession earlier, and there are a lot of parallels. I don't want to spoil it for anybody who's watching right now, but there are a lot of parallels with this season of Succession.
I mean,
Does it bother you guys at all? Does it take away from Brian Cox's character at all that it's the same voice that announces the McRib is back on those McDonald's commercials?
Did
you realize
that
that's
did not
him?
bother me, but now it will. Thank you very much for ruining one of my favorite shows for me.
Let me tell you this. Every Sunday during football season, when it comes on and they roll out Brian Cox, I always think about Brian Cox, the linebacker with a Y.
The middle fingers at the Buffalo crowd.
I imagine how much better this great show would be if Brian with a Y Cox was playing Logan Roy's character. That's
Brian
so much better.
Brian Cox had one of the best turns on Hard Knocks of anyone in the history of Hard Knocks, aside from the offensive line coordinator for the Browns.
I think the fact that we have moved on to TV/football conversations means that we are tired of dealing with Robert Sarver being a racist misogynist, and we can move on to the next topic.
All right, moving on. We could do an entire show on Brian Cox's neck roll. Unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
All right, our next topic, though. Do you see things getting better or worse for the Celtics after their players-only meeting?
Players-only meeting. Yes, please do.
Let me start with this one. So if you're going to have a players-only meeting, you have it before you play the Magic. That's when you do it. You have it before you play the Magic, and you say, look, guys, we had a chat. It was emotional. We hashed it all out. We're now on the same page. We beat the Magic. Everything's going to be fine. However, their next game is against the Heat. And the Heat right now are my pick to come out of the East. And we'll see
Tell me
about
more.
the Celtics team. I know we'll get there. But right now we'll stay to the topic. Okay, look how I'm pointing in the right direction this time. And I will say that I think that this Celtics team last year showed us that not just the roster, but the chemistry, like the entire organization was broken. The effort wasn't there last year. Like, this is a good team on paper, but didn't translate to the court. And I thought, bring in Ime Udoka, bring back Horford, bring in Schroeder to play the point guard. I really thought, and I tricked myself into thinking that this was going to change that. It has not changed that whatsoever. I have no faith in this Celtics team. None.
You mentioned like the leadership on this team.
Okay.
Like, no, I'm going to stay on the Celtics. Okay. The Heat fans love dogging the Celtics. So if you look at them, can Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum be more passing guys? Can they do what Marcus Smart's saying is pass the ball more? It might not be in their game. It might not be in their nature to look for the other guy. So that might be, consistent with what I was saying the other day. One of these guys probably has to go. And in terms of just leadership on the floor, like personality-wise, I'd love to have Jaylen Brown on my team. I just don't want him to have to be the voice of my team because you don't hear it very often. And same thing with Tatum. Like, those guys are quiet demeanor guys, and so they're not really the rah-rah guys. Again, that's kind of Marcus Smart's job, but he can't do that if he doesn't feel involved. So this isn't the first year where they've had issues like this. If Marcus Smart said this the other day, it wasn't because he just thought of it 2 games ago. It wasn't because, he just thought of it at the start of the year. This has been a problem. And so whether it's fixable or not, I don't know. I feel like Udoka has a tough job on his hands, but I do think that they've needed a point guard more than any of these teams that just are kind of middling a little bit and can't figure this out. They need somebody to organize them better, and really what they've had over the last 3 point guards is scoring point guards in Kyrie, Kemba, and Schroeder. Schroeder's certainly not the guy who's going to fix it all and organize them. So I think it might be a personnel thing that Brad Stevens, now that he's in that role, has to fix.
It's hilarious how we've gotten used to Schroeder being Schroeder. I mean, it's just me, because the first time I heard Schroeder, I was shocked to see who he was. And now you just say it and his face pops up in my head and I'm not even surprised by it. That's weird. But through my deep NBA analysis, I know that Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum I think it's a 12.8.
12.5, I believe.
Oh,
12.5 net rating. Yep.
Net rating? Yeah, I looked it up.
Oh,
Yeah,
12.8.
12.8. See,
Yes,
I looked it up all by myself. I didn't read it when it was on the screen a couple minutes ago. So the argument that they don't play well together is specious, I guess, at best. I think that's just like people don't know what to say, so they say that.
No, they're good. Yeah. They're good enough to be better than the other team with those two guys on there. They're not good enough to, if those guys don't have it going, to get other people involved and make sure that the offense is still flowing.
So
with those two guys,
to do that. Well,
or one of them needs to sort of pull back a little bit and be more of a facilitator.
I was being somewhat sarcastic about my basketball analysis. I'll leave that to you. But as far as players-only meetings are concerned, I know a lot about those, and I know they never work. And I can't imagine a league where it would work less than in the NBA. And I'll check with you guys on this one. But the more I learn about NBA and NBA teams and NBA players, it seems like they are a team of teams, if that makes sense. So everyone has a team outside of the building. Like all the people that work for them is like their team. And that to me feels like the team that, and it's not being judgmental of the, go ahead, 20 seconds.
You call them a team of teams? Is that what you just did?
Yeah, I went for a team of teams.
A team of teams?
Yeah. Can I finish my analysis first before you poop on it?
Can we go ahead and
you can't.
just also announce that this doesn't
teams.
exist anymore?
Yeah.
This isn't really
a team of teams? That's one of those things that's so dumb that it sounds smart, which is a great move by you.
Isn't that
But continue.
I stole it from General Petraeus. Or no, not him, the other one. He had a book.
It sounds like a meeting within a meeting on Microsoft Teams.
The point is, now, see if I can take my stupid comment and make it sound smart. Because you can say something stupid. If you follow it up with good support, then you're good. So here we go. So outside of the building, they have their own team. And they are more loyal in many cases to that team that they have in the building. Then when you come in and you have this players-only meeting, it doesn't feel like that you can get through to everyone, because then you leave and you go back to your real team and you all talk about how everyone else in there is not doing their job. And that's something that I always remember from being on sports teams in my younger ages. You get older and it gets less of a team and more of a business. But when you're young, like you actually feel like there's nobody else on your team but the people in that room. And in that case, maybe a players only meeting actually works, because those are the only voices that matter. Those are only people that there's no media coverage, so no one else knows about what's happening but the people in that room. The tough thing about this is after you leave the building, you got all the people that are around you that make you the player that you are, that's telling you all the things that you want to hear, but not the things that you need to hear. So it kind of nullifies the players only meeting. Did I work it?
So what comes out of this one? No, it's there. It's
just
there.
Don't call it team of teams. I'm talking to Jacoby. He says he hated it the most. So what can I call it? If it's good analysis, but it's a bad name, what do I call it?
No, you saved it. You totally saved the team of teams thing. But I will say that happiness is a function of expectations, right? And this is, you have Tatum and Brown, these young stars. They go to the Eastern Conference Finals, and then they go again, and then Boston says max deals for everybody, and then the expectations rise. Like these are two young stars, max players. We should be going back to the Eastern Conference Finals. We should be going to the finals, and then that builds pressure. And the Kyrie Irving thing is really the inflection point with this franchise.
What comes out of that locker room then? Because I imagine if they just went in there and said, oh, okay, Jalen and Jason just need to pass more, cool, we'll pass more, we'll be great. No, they're going to say to themselves, hey, I'm the scorer on this team. If you're going to go out and score 25, fine, I'll look for you. But maybe you guys need to look, So I just don't see them coming out of this meeting and saying, oh, everything's great. We have readjusted how we are going to play or who's doing what. You're not. You're just kind of, again, messing with or settling the expectations on the team, right? If Marcus Smart maybe is the one who might need to get more involved, but everybody else, they're just kind of play their role. It's not like all of a sudden Jason Tatum's going to be a 7 or 8 assist guy or Jaylen Brown's going to be that. So I'm not sure what you come out of it other than maybe playing with more spirit and more energy, and maybe assists just happen.
It's just our offensive bias also, because aren't they really trash on defense too? Isn't that also part of the problem?
We're talking about assists. Jaylen Brown's a good defender. Brown and Smart are good defenders.
As a team.
Brown and Smart. Yeah, they're not great defensively, no. But
and they have the makeup of a better defensive team.
They do. That's a good point. They have 3 of their starters are excellent defenders, so that should get you to above 18th in defensive efficiency. As I did extensive research for the show as well, Dom. But I will say that this is broken beyond the roster. This is not something a players-only team meeting is going to fix. And I am really, really looking forward to watching this dumpster flame up and then making big trades and completely flipping the roster.
Well,
What's on your sweater or your sweatshirt?
Those are
flowers?
pigeons.
Oh, they're pigeons. You're
Yeah,
so
yeah.
New York.
City theme. See the background?
I see it. Got it.
weird. Yeah, constructions and fairies. I do think one thing that could possibly break the Celtics, like you're talking about this dumpster fire, they could get broken tonight. Like this, it's not just the Heat defense that is, I think, second in the league now because Golden State took them over, but it's an offense that will frustrate you. And so they could get blown out of Miami tonight, and then all those questions are going to arise again. And that win against Orlando is not going to mean much, especially since it's the second night of a back-to-back for the Celtics. And we know about the South Beach flu; that's back in effect because things are happening down there. I'm telling you, this could get ugly for the Celtics, or they could just, flip the script entirely, beat the Heat, and say they fixed their season.
No
Who's
chance
pretty
they
sure
beat
it's
the
going to be
Heat.
the former.
No chance they beat the Heat tonight. No chance. I love the Miami Heat this year. I love the Heat this year. And I think one of the things that you'll see in the game tonight is one team disjointed, like sort of rudderless. And when you watch the Heat on defense, they're constantly helping each other. Everybody's on a string. Everyone's helping each other. They're always on the same page offensively and defensively. And when you watch the Celtics, it just seems like 5 individuals that just met playing pickup in the park.
Who leaks the players-only meeting? Because I feel like players-only meetings should not get leaked to the media. That seems because it just... Yeah,
I think the whole point of having a players-only meeting is so the media can find out you had a players-only meeting. I think
if they don't know you had a players-only meeting, did you actually have a players-only meeting? Like the only reason it matters is when everybody knows.
I thought it was interesting that it was emotional. It got very emotional. What kind of sad? Were we crying? Were we yelling? It's like what
I mean, I could see Marcus getting loud, and I can see Jalen getting passionate as well. But outside of those two.
Emotional sounds like tears, because I feel like you say fiery if it was like angry emotion. Like it was fiery or it was intense. You say it was emotional, somebody shed one. Somebody was like...
or maybe Time Lord was just cracking up in the back of the room. That was his emotion.
I cry very easily, so I hope it was crying.
Maybe it was Bing Bong. They heard about...
Don't do that.
They heard about the Bing Bong situation in New York, and it made them think of the fine movie Inside Out. And then they got sad when Bing Bong faded away, never to return. Poor Bing Bong.
Poor Bing Bong.
I love you, Bing Bong.
Wow, I was looking at that list there, fewest assists of players taking 20 shots or more, and thought I was coming up with a take just with Jaylen Brown being on the top. But look, Jason Tatum's on there too.
Oh man, good for the Celtics. You got anything else on the Celtics?
And what is the common denominator for everybody else? I guess not Paul George, right? Because on his, well, actually, completely healthy, also true. Those 2, 3, 4, and 5 guys on that list are all the second scorers on their team, basically, right? Like maybe Anthony Davis, LeBron James is 1 and 1A.
You could also say
those guys are second scorers.
You could say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are second scorers too.
There you go. Right. So Jason's the one who's got some explaining to do on that list.
All right, next topic.
All right, we're moving on to football.
Yes.
To less controversial sport.
What do you expect out of Mike White tonight?
Nothing. Mike White was a fun story. It was amazing. It's exciting. You think Mike White is going to turn into the future of the Jets?
They literally took Mike White's jersey and put it in the Hall of Fame. I'm not joking. That's not a joke. It actually happened. They put his jersey in the Hall of Fame. If I'm Mike White's best friend, I'm pulling him aside and being like, look, man, your back hurts, doesn't it? Your back hurts, doesn't it? Just go out on top. Just go out with that one performance.
If I'm Mike White,
you never buy a drink again in New York City.
If I'm Mike White's teammates, those guys who got all that yak after he threw a little 1-yard pass and got him 400 yards, I would demand an entire hallway, an entire section of the Hall of Fame for us. Okay, we did that for you, Mike White. You're welcome.
I mean, that's my analysis of the Mike White experience. Also, it doesn't mean that he can't take shots down the field and he can become something better. But if anyone ever tells you that we're in some like post-demographic world or post-geographical world as far as stars are concerned, that it doesn't matter what city you play in because you got Instagram, remind them of Mike White. Like, Mike White had one win in a good statistical game where he did check the ball down a lot against...
If he was a Colt.
Yeah, against the Bengals. And we all care about it. We're talking about it today because, and his jersey's in the Hall of Fame now, because he plays for the Jets. It's outrageous how powerful that city that Jacoby is in right now is. So if you have a chance, go play for a New York team, even if they stink. Is that what Mike White looks like?
Can we answer the question, though? What if he does? Like, what if the Jets play well?
Thursday night?
He wins.
Oh, gosh. What is the bing bong for the
Thursday
Jets?
night?
They're going to get something. It's going to start. They're going to do, I don't know.
Well, the question's immediately going to go to Zach Wilson. Like, is Zach Wilson done? Is this he Wally Pipp officially? Like,
it's already started.
That's going to get louder and louder.
It's already started.
The Colts are going to whoop them this evening, and Mike White's probably going to throw 3 picks. He did throw 2 picks, but everyone made excuses for him last time. But I really think the fact that he received the touchdown is what brought him over the top. It was because he caught a touchdown, he laid on his back and did like the turtle on his back thing and the celebration. That to me is what really brought him to the superstar that he is now, and also the fact that he plays in New York.
I'm just frustrated, both as a Dolphins fan, that supposed to be better than the Jets, and the Jets are supposed to be bottom of the barrel, and they are not there. They are better than us. And frankly, as a Gator, because my basketball coach is named Mike White, and he's not even the most famous Mike White in sports. Like, that's very frustrating. Pretty sure Dom is either frozen or shot.
I've got something to ease your frustrations because Dom is frozen, so we can just take it from here, which is really where I want to be. But you need to focus as a Miamian, Miamier, what do we?
South Floridian.
As a Floridian,
South Floridian.
You just got to focus on the Heat. Just focus on the Heat. Dom's back. The second he gets back, he gets into technical difficulty.
I was Googling Inside Out characters, and I closed my window by mistake because we needed a new name because obviously the Knicks have taken Bing Bong. Even though it's not based on Inside Out, I feel like Mike White has to be an Inside Out character if he balls out tonight. But there aren't really no good characters except for Bing Bong. He's the best character. The rest of them,
what are the rest of the names?
Like Fear,
just regular names.
Then there's like Jangle, the clown guy, and that's too rude for Mike White. Maybe we just pick another Pixar movie for Mike White. I don't know.
Oh, Bing Bong,
he's back. All right, we got anything else on Mike White and the Jets?
I was just gonna say the problem, Jacoby. The problem with me not being a Dolphins fan is they just gave me a personalized jersey the other day. It's got my last name on it. It's got the number 21 because I did this little event for them. And now I've never had more actual reason to be a Dolphins fan. So I just need it to happen. I just need them to recover. Is that too much to ask?
That's pretty bad. They're in last place behind the Jets in that division.
All right. Well, maybe I'll just change the number to 22 on the back and hope for next year.
It's a real bad place. So we just started the first topic, or the topic before this, we ended up on the positive Miami sports team, and now we are on the saddest Miami sports team. It's really bad when you're, well, I guess we're past the trade deadline, but their only source of hope was bringing in someone accused of 22 accounts. Like, that's a bad place to be in as a fan base.
Their only source of hope is that someone pays off 22 alleged victims of sexual misconduct.
You're so much more willing to talk about this than the Heat, Domonique. That really bothers me.
Watson opens up his wallet and pays off 22 alleged victims of sexual misconduct. That is where your franchise is in Miami.
I feel like it's time to play a game. Anybody?
What's next? I love the Heat propaganda personally. I'm pro Heat propaganda because it makes me giggle. Culture.
We have one more trending topic, and that is,
okay.
Do you see OBJ being able to force his way onto the team of his choosing?
Yes.
Dom, I read somewhere that he played this perfectly. How in the world did he play this perfectly?
Explain that to me. How did he play this perfectly?
Well, I mean, I guess the argument for him playing it perfectly is that he is going to get them to release him, and he'll be a free agent, and he can go wherever he wants, rather than they have to find a trade destination. So if that works out that way, then yeah, you can pick the quarterback, you can pick the team, and you can go play for them, and you still have to get whatever guaranteed money is on your contract from Cleveland, which may make it easier to sign elsewhere. So that would be the argument that he played it perfectly.
What did he do, though, other than playing poorly and, giving his dad the all-22 video?
Yeah, I guess that's it. It's like you get LeBron to send out a tweet, and your dad, awkwardly reposts a landscape view in the wrong orientation of you being wide open, and somehow you get out of town and whatever. So there's going to be more to this story. I feel bad talking about it today because at some point we're going to find out what's really happening, because his dad reposting that video and LeBron tweeting is not enough to get you sent home. You know, like something else he said or did something else, or someone else said or did. I don't want to put it on him only. Something happened in that building that led them to say, you can't come here anymore.
Well, Baker came out and said something that I found very telling, is he said that he has not spoken to Odell. And if I saw his father's post, and if Odell Beckham Jr. did not agree with his father's post, he would call Baker's phone, which his number is in his phone, and he'd say, look, that's my dad. He's always got my back. He's just being a dad. But me and you, we're 100. I'll see you at practice tomorrow. But he never reached out to Baker. Baker never reached out to him. That is indicative to me that there are more issues than what we know about. This is not just a social media post from his father. There's something going on there. But when you talk about him going to other teams, it's sort of like a dating situation where you're at dinner on a third date with somebody, you're thinking about going exclusive, and they tell you they have a restraining order out on the person that they previously dated. It's just like, well, that is the position of a team picking up Odell Beckham Jr. It's like, all right, so it ended really poorly with the Giants, ended really poorly with the Browns, but we're going to now take you into our locker room?
Yeah, I mean,
But at least she got the restraining order already. Like, you don't have to deal with all the legal issues and the threat. Like, if you see him, just call the cops.
I mean, the assumption is, I think the implication is that Odell is the problem, which I'm not sure is true. Like, I'd be concerned about moving Odell, even if I was Cleveland, not only for losing the talent, because you're not losing much production, but what could potentially happen in your locker room. So we aren't in there. We don't know how players feel about these particular players. I would be surprised. Odell is a really hard-working player whom everyone I know that's played with him likes him. And while the media is up in arms often about his antics, and I can understand there's some ridiculous things, he hasn't had those in a while. There is a possibility that part of the locker room is on the side of their superstar receiver and not on the side of their mediocre quarterback, and that could be a problem.
I have a question
Do you
for
think
Dom.
that those same players, though, think that maybe he's just being used improperly and he'd be better off going? If they like him, sort of free him? Because it's not like it's only been a couple of weeks. He's been here a few seasons already, and the production's just not there outside of that first.
That's too much logic. You're applying too much logic to an emotional situation.
My bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's an emotional situation. Go ahead, Jacoby.
You're calling him a superstar receiver and a mediocre quarterback. Now, I don't disagree with the latter, but if he was a superstar receiver, wouldn't he be a superstar receiver, and wouldn't those numbers look differently?
Again, with the logic, Odell Beckham is a incredibly influential player. So it doesn't matter that his numbers aren't good. Odell Beckham is a name that you all know. They knew Odell Beckham before he showed up there, and I promise you, many of them looked up to him, admired him, and respected him as a player before he got there. Then he got there and built relationships with some of them. They watched how hard he worked. They also see this video. I guarantee you, while they're not saying it publicly, I guarantee you there is a contingent in the locker room that thinks that Baker is failing Odell. There's a contingent in the locker room that thinks the coaches are letting him down. The question is, how big is that contingent and how important are the players that are part of that contingent? That's the part that I'm talking about that could be dangerous. All your logic and numbers don't matter. If Odell is their dog and Baker is the one letting him down, seeing Odell leave and being stuck with mediocre Baker is a problem in the locker room. I'm sorry that football players don't always make sense, but we're humans.
Well, Dom, you made the best point. You made the best point. What we really aren't discussing enough when it comes to Odell Beckham Jr. and his future and what's happened is the posting from his dad. It took me
get it right.
It took me 30 seconds to be like, wait. What, the words are like this and the I just feel like someone should have they should have given it to a nephew or something and be like, please walk me through how this Instagram thing works.
The best part of that is Odell. I feel like that would have given Odell the perfect way to get out of this. Is man, my dad was just emotional. He didn't even get to orientation right. That man was crazy. He probably was drinking, man. I'm sorry, Baker.
I'm curious, was there a group FaceTime with him and LeBron and his dad and just all right, here's how we're going to play this, all right? We got to make sure you look kind of like you're doing this on your own. LeBron, I just need one simple sentence. That's it.
I'm so
this
glad
is going to work like a charm.
Angle. I'm so glad because all things in sports media go back to LeBron, and this one does as well. But LeBron is a Cowboys fan / Browns fan, whatever he wants to be in that moment. But if he's actually a Browns fan, well, let's just whatever day it is, whatever team's doing better, he's a fan of. If he's a Browns fan, why would he tweet that?
Because he is not only is he a fan of the Browns and a fan of the Cowboys, his number one allegiance is to Clutch Sports. which I believe represents Odell Beckham. So that's why he wants to free Odell, I'm guessing. That's why he sent out that tweet, is as an owner of the agency that reps Odell Beckham, right? I think so. Charlie, look it up so I'm not spreading misinformation.
Well, Dominique, to your best guess, this isn't like a Mike Wallace situation where the Dolphins ruined him and he's never the same receiver. Like, he's going to be Odell again on another team?
I mean,
your best guess.
You watched the sideways video. The man still could get open. Like
a little dizzy.
There were plenty. Yeah, you didn't watch the sideways video, but I will tell you, as someone who also didn't watch the sideways video, has watched a lot of Odell Beckham this season, and he can get open. Like there's plenty of stuff that you can blame on him. But to be fair, every great receiver is going to get open more times than they catch the ball. You could make a highlight tape of Tyreek Hill being wide open and Patrick Mahomes missing him. Like, you could do that. However, you could also make a highlight tape that is equally as long, if not longer, of him catching those touchdowns. So, based on what I've seen, Odell is still a terrifying proposition for any defense to stop, and it hasn't worked out that way for him.
Do the Rams have room for him on the roster?
You know they're
because
trying.
It's L.A., it's by LeBron, they're all in, going for these stars. Is that the destination?
You know they are trying. If they had any draft picks left.
Are you interested in a 2035 second rounder? Like that,
They don't need it. They don't need to trade anymore. They can just sign him if he's a free agent.
Draft picks.
They can't trade him anyway. He'll be a free agent. But didn't Deshaun Jackson just leave out of there? So there's some room.
Yes,
he can go replace Deshaun. And
it's all part of the plan.
Is Cooper Kupp going to be happy to see Odell show up? I don't know.
I don't know why, but I just love Cooper Kupp. I can't.
I don't think it matters, man. Cooper Kupp is so good. Like, he doesn't care if Odell's there. He's always open anyway. I love those
guys so much. You know, there's great receivers. They run great routes.
Yeah, he's gritty. He's a cerebral player, that Cooper Kupp.
They run great routes.
They're two totally different kinds of receivers, guys. What are you doing?
You're trying to tell me there's nothing that these two receivers have in common? I can't. I mean, I guess you're right. I guess you're right. I don't know why I had this affinity for those two guys. I don't know why.
All right, what's next, Charles?
All right, guys, it is time to play a game.
I like
In our next game, WHODUNNIT. We give you guys a quote. You tell us who done it.
That's how you
First quote.
Power. Look at that. Power. You guys don't know what I'm talking about, but it's okay.
I was nothing more than a prop. I feel a lot of kinship with this quote. And the choices are A, Scottie Pippen, B, Reggie Miller, C, Charles Oakley, or D, Pablo Torre.
I think we all know the answer to this, right?
Yeah, it's Pablo.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Pablo is nothing more than a prop. But yeah, yesterday it was like all the rage talking about my man Scottie, right? Like that's it.
That was him. I mean, I've never seen an angrier champion before.
This makes me so sad. It really makes me sad because I want Scottie Pippen to be happy, man. Like I want him to just sleep with a smile on his face. 6-time champion. You know, he's one of the best players of all time. Yet he still is upset about this. Like, he still has a bone to pick. He's still writing books about this. It just hurts me. I don't even know this man personally. I know he works here, but I want him to be happier. I just want him to be happier. Please, Scottie.
It just feels like he's been saying all the right things or the things that he's supposed to say for all the years, but when you talk to him privately, he's probably saying all of these things. Well, now that The Last Dance came out, and it's just like, well, hey, wait a second, I still haven't told my... Now he tells these things. Like, I remember being on the Jump set with him, and he was basically describing how he could not defend LeBron James if it was his duty to, because he couldn't defend Karl Malone, and LeBron's Karl's size, and, he's dribbling the ball in your face, into your chest. So, but when the cameras came on, it's Michael Jordan's the greatest player ever, there's no question. And so... If you were guarding Mike in practice, but you say out loud to people around you that you can't guard LeBron, then maybe you're just saying more for Michael because he's your teammate and all that. And so maybe now his actual opinions come out now that it's just like, well, wait a second, I was nothing more than a prop, and that he and Michael haven't been this close. So, maybe we hear more from
That's possible, but I mean, to continue on our succession theme, maybe he's just not getting the love. Like, and this makes him Greg the Egg in that situation where clearly Greg wants to be on whatever side will treat him with some respect and love. It is not it seems like he's not getting it from the guy that he feels like he deserves it most from. We were never friends, or we were never close. Like that feels like a scorn number 2 to me, and less than being honest, which maybe he's right. I mean, I'm not going to parse all of that, but it just seems like his feelings are hurt because he keeps bringing this stuff up at every opportunity. Is he selling something? He got a book or some more liquor
He's got
out?
a book. Yeah, he's got a book.
Okay.
The experts.
It's a memoir.
GQ. The Michael and I aren't close and never have been. It's just, you don't have to be friends to win basketball games together. There's famous duos throughout the history of the NBA, but it's surprising. It just surprises me that he is so emotionally affected by The Last Dance. I really feel like with no Last Dance, there's no memoir. With no Last Dance, none of this sees the light of day. It also surprises me that Izzy's telling stories that happened off camera from one of the legends of the NBA. I don't think he's.
Well, he never said off the record. He never said off the record. And it's been like 5 years. Okay, I think I can go ahead and say that.
I'm surprised that you're surprised. And I think I'm surprised that you're surprised, and I'm surprised, and we're all surprised. So I'm surprised at what we're surprised at. The surprising thing isn't that a human has emotions. The surprising thing is that the other one doesn't. Like the idea that Scottie feels like this after being so closely linked to this particular player his entire life, like you would think that that man would have a heart. Like I understand where Scottie is coming from. And I feel bad for
100%.
Like denigrating Scottie or making it seem like he's the problem because the other guy, the winning cyborg, is the one who is unusual. Like that's the weird stuff.
There's nobody on the planet that can experience what Scottie Pippen is experiencing. Like this is Michael Jordan, considered, by most, I would still think, the best basketball player, perhaps the best athlete of our time. Nobody helped prop that. Not that he needed help being propped up, but nobody helped that dude out more in his career than Scottie Pippen. And if they weren't even friends, Scottie did it for the winning. He did it for the benefit of the team, and that benefited Michael, lifting him to the best player ever. And he's not going to get his flowers? That's nonsense. Nobody else can actually feel what Scottie feels. I don't think probably in any sport. Like Jerry Rice, Joe Montana, they don't have that type of relationship, right? They're both considered arguably the best ever at their position. So, yeah, Scottie's got some reason to be pissed.
A few things. Number one, you both just made great points. That's the most surprising thing that came out of this. You both just made really good points. And I just wanted to say that. That's an actual compliment. Number two, as someone who has built their career off the coattails of someone else, you got to maintain that relationship, Scottie. You know what I mean? It's on you, Scottie.
Whatever. I don't see Jalen on Debatable. I'm just saying, who's carrying who?
Scottie. You got to make sure that you guys are on the same page.
But in this case, he stopped calling him. So you are now, you've risen to the heights of Debatable. So now you can stop calling Jalen and get him off your coattails. Man, I'm sure it's exhausting dragging that man around. All right, what's next?
All right, our next quote. I'm the only guy you've ever known that does not have an email. When email first came out, I had a computer and I'd press a button that said, "You've got mail." And it'd be sort of cute. Fifth day, it had 208 messages and I cut it off. Closed the computer and never opened it again. And your choices are A, Urban Meyer, B, Mike Leach, C, Roy Williams, or D, Dan Le Batard.
Who?
I actually don't know who said this. I'm guessing.
I have no idea who said
I have
this.
no idea, but it's a pretty easy guess. That's a very Mike Leachy
mean,
thing to
yeah,
say.
it's
Very
a-
Leachy thing
Really?
to say.
Okay.
It's a Leachy thing
martinis,
to say.
delicious.
It's
I
very
mean,
Leachy
Roy
martini.
Williams.
Nobody's
is
interviewed
all-
Roy Williams, right? He's in retirement. There's not.
That is a
nobody's
Mike
talking to him
Leachy
right now.
martini if I've ever seen it.
It's A or B.
Leachy
It's A or B.
Don't be.
I mean, I'd love to see how many messages that email has now. Like, you open that thing up. Like, are there enough digits out there? Like,
Let's go
that was
with-
what, like 1995? So how many emails can one get in 36 years?
Let's go with B. We'll trust you, Jacoby. You know the Mike Leach.
Mike Leachy martini.
I'm the only guy you've ever known that does not have
Oh,
email.
you.
Oh, come on.
Wow.
No. When email first came out, I had a computer at Kansas, and I'd press a button. It said, "You've got mail," and it'd be sort of cute. It's the fifth day I went in and pushed the button. It had 208 messages, and I cut it off, closed the computer, and never opened it up again.
Did you see him go, "You've got mail"?
This is a remix. We make a song out of that. So I mean, I was a little concerned going with the Mike Leach because I feel like this is too mild for Mike Leach. Like we wouldn't bring this is nothing on the Mike Leach scale of absurdity. Mike Leach says really scary and stupid and dangerous things. Like just not. I wish Mike Leach was not on email because then he would not be forwarding the emails.
Yeah.
I'm sure he is out here forwarding in these streets. So Roy Williams, good job. Keep all your old goofy thoughts to yourself. Mike Leach, stop sending emails.
Well, you know, after
I'm
the
just glad
John
Roy's getting
Gruden
interviewed.
story came out, Roy Williams just patted himself on the back. He's just like, can't catch me. Not gonna get me.
What's this? They put computer science
I
there.
never opened it in 18 years. There were over 18,000 emails they had to erase.
How do you
Well,
know?
really, you don't have to erase them.
How do you know, Roy
But also, like,
Williams?
that
How do you
seems
know
like a
if they
low
opened
number.
it?
I feel like, yeah,
How
I feel like
many-
every time I open my sister's phone, she's got 18,000 emails on there.
How many like servers are filled up with? Actually, a better question is how many unread emails do you have? Are you like, Izzy? You strike me as someone who would be like stressed by the
Wow.
little
I've
red
got-
circle that says you
I've got
unread
two.
emails.
I've got two alerts on here, or two. I've got my texts say 15, which is already giving me anxiety.
Yeah, I know.
And my emails say 3, and you know that's probably all just junk on there. There's no real
Jacoby,
important
you
emails.
got a comma in your text and in your emails. I guarantee it.
No, I changed my life a couple years ago. Just unsubscribe. I unsubscribe to everything. Anything that's not a human being, I'm unsubscribed to. The unsubscribe button is at
I
the
usually
bottom
feel
of every
guilty if I
email.
unsubscribe too soon.
I unsubscribe
Like if you
to
unsubscribe a day
everything.
after, it's like, ooh, they're gonna know.
Did you what? So have you ever missed anything? Is there like been a party or a wedding or something that you didn't get because those like invites come from like companies. They don't come from individuals.
Well, if I missed it, I don't know that I missed it, so I'm perfectly
So
happy.
that it's okay. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like a bill. You didn't get a bill because you was like, no.
It might be the reason why I'm not friends with some people anymore. You know, you didn't go to my wedding. Hey, you didn't invite me. Whatever. I mean, like, it's not my fault. Sending email invitations.
Oh man, good for you, Izzy. I'm proud of you. Keep that thing and 0. All right, what's next?
All right, guys, we're gonna play another game.
You don't sound happy though. Like, I mean,
Did I turn it up?
yes. Give me
And
some.
that game is
yeah.
What Are the Chances?
Yeah.
Yeah!
Yes.
We'll show you a clip, and
Woo!
then you'll tell us the chances.
All right.
First topic.
Okay.
What are the chances that Draymond had this coming?
Draymond.
I'm gonna guess it was a kick to the junk.
Whew.
Oh.
So is it
Now,
just?
can we go check the tape and see if like Gordon Hayward's a serial nut checker? Because maybe he's got a history too.
So is this just like a body of work? Because I don't believe he did anything in this particular game or to this particular
yes.
player.
Oh,
Yes,
no,
this
it's
is a
years
long-
and years.
This is
Okay.
a long body of work is the right way to put it. There's in
Talk to
particular
Steven
part
Adams.
of the body that he's been putting work in at opposing players.
Man,
Yes.
Is it Chris
Yeah.
Paul? I thought Chris Paul, I'm going to say 0% because I would not dare say that anyone deserves that for fear of attracting it myself. But I thought Chris Paul was the king of the junk punch.
No. Well, Draymond's more of a he uses he's more of a
Yeah.
kicker, more of a kicker near type.
Chris Paul
But
goes
he's
back to
he's
college,
also-
though. I remember
Some
it.
argue that a junk punch from Draymond Green cost them a championship with the 73-win Warriors.
Yes, that's a
Is
fair
there-
argument to make.
I'm putting this at 99% because I do agree that he's second on the list of deserving retaliation.
Really?
So-
Oh God!
Oh, yeah.
It's just so hard for me to say that someone deserves
Yeah.
to be struck in that manner.
To be hit in the bing bongs.
Well put. Well put. That is the real bing bong. Hey, the bing bong card. I'm gonna put this at 25% because I do love Draymond, and he plays defense. That's why he has this coming. He actually plays defense and contests shots. Whereas
So-
most
Do we
people
have
in
the
NBA just
montage
let them
of
score.
his?
All right. I'm going to put you on the stand, Izzy. So, you believe
raise my
that,
right hand?
Yes. You believe that Draymond deserves this. Why?
Oh,
Just answer the question.
I don't know if anybody fully deserves
Okay,
that, right? Like there
that's
could
not
be
the
another
question.
way.
That's the question I
there could be
asked.
an,
I just asked a simple question. You
you
said
raise-
99% chance, so why does he deserve it?
can you raise the other hand so I can see the D tattoo like last time?
Yes, you can see them both. I'll just talk like this. I believe, like it's just, can I say, it's just, I'm not referencing Lonzo and a ball for a ball. Like
Okay,
you
okay,
need
okay,
to be
okay.
able to go ahead
That's
and
fine.
retaliate. Like
That's fine. I got
it
it.
is what it is. And
Okay, so
I believe he deserves it.
by you saying that he deserved this 99% chance that he had this coming, aren't you also calling for someone to get hit in the junk? So if you believe that someone who causes a junk punch deserves a junk punch, are you not now asking for a junk punch?
I believe that players in the NBA believed he was deserving and had this coming.
Okay.
I believe if I played in the NBA, I would probably have avoided it. Probably because I'm scared of Draymond Green more than anything else.
We'll see how the junk punch police, how they figure this out over the next couple days. Next time we're on the show, I need to know, did you get your comeuppance or not? And then maybe I'll change my percentage. What's next?
All right, we got one more.
There you go. You still got the energy.
Let's make sure to follow up on this topic in a couple of weeks so Dom can.
I know. I
And
could
this,
rest
what are the
easy.
chances? What are the chances that Giannis was recognized more than normal at a Harry Styles concert?
100? Didn't he have something a couple weeks ago that he was like in a store or something, and he was surprised that people recognized him with his mask on? Wasn't that Giannis?
Yeah.
It's like you're 7
That was
foot
Giannis.
Late night
tall,
grocery shopper.
yeah, 7 foot tall superhuman walking around an empty grocery store in Milwaukee. Yes, you're gonna get recognized, and I'm sure. I mean, Harry Styles is like teenage girls, right?
Yes.
Also, based on his math, there were 100 people at this concert, which is not very well attended. It was 99% women and him. So that's only 100 people.
That's fair.
Percent
Look at
women
you,
and me.
mathematician. Well, he didn't put the decimal.
Yeah. He did. There were only it was an evening with Harry Styles. It was not an arena show. It was just a lounge, and it's just for 100 people. But I will say that Harry Styles. Brief personal story. I used to listen to only hip hop in my car. My son revolted. We listened to country for a while. So then we met in the middle. Now we listen to pop. And Harry Styles is often played on the new pop channel. And the big song is Watermelon Sugar High. And he talks about strawberries on a summer evening. And it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. It's just a song about fruit. But somehow he is the most famous, richest, most popular artist in the world. And he just wrote a song while in the produce aisle of like a Stop and Shop.
I mean, look, it does really bother me that the song is called Watermelon Sugar and the first fruit that's mentioned is strawberries. The first
Thank you.
line
It
says
makes no
strawberries.
sense.
It doesn't really make any sense.
It's not
But
enough
if you really
sugar.
want to know what
How
that
much
song's
watermelon
about,
do you eat to get a sugar
don't
high
ask.
from it too, Mr. Styles? What is this a euphemism for, Mr. Styles? I don't understand this song at all.
Mr. Styles.
Nope. Now, I don't understand the song, but that's a whole different conversation. I really want to ask you guys about what your thoughts are on
Jacoby's
Blink
still
182. I honestly, your opinions on Blink 182
great
as a
face.
band.
Blink 182.
Yeah.
Opinions
Nail
on him?
Blink 182 song.
What does this
Isn't
have
that-
to do with
Yeah.
Harry Styles?
Like,
He's
if you
not
go to a
Blink-182.
Blink 182 concert, is that something to be mocked?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, well,
So
first
it
of all,
was fair.
I don't like live music. I don't want to go somewhere to pay to listen to a bad version of a song that I like with a bunch of other people where I can't stand up, sit down, or dance, or talk to my friends. I'm not going to live music concerts. I'm not doing that ever again.
A surprise.
I was helping a
I'm going
I was
100%
helping a friend
on
of
this
mine
just
babysit.
just to play by the rules. I guess 100%.
was helping a friend of mine babysit and ended up at a Blink 182 concert in my early 20s and accidentally said that out loud in the Marlins locker room the next day and got roasted. From then on, I never listened to another Blink 182 song. I thought it was the most embarrassing thing in the world. And then what happened? As in my 30s, I went to another Blink 182 concert. I say 99%.
I'm proud of you because I was just gonna point out how insecure both of these grown men are because rather than say that you listen to a Harry Styles song, David Jacoby, you gave us some long, elaborate explanation for how you got tricked into listening to Harry Styles. It's okay that you rock with Harry. Don't be ashamed. And same
First
for
of all,
you,
Olivia
Izzy.
Rodrigo
Blink-182 is your thing.
is
That's
the
fine.
voice of our generation, and I absolutely love all Olivia Rodrigo songs. So I'm not afraid of loving some pop music. It's called pop music because it's popular. It's good.
I'm gonna need you after this show to Google what watermelon sugar is about, and then maybe you'll get the joke that Izzy told a few minutes ago. Okay?
I'm
It was a
I
great
didn't-
one, and you didn't even laugh. It was a great.
I have no idea what the song's about. I'm not smart
Just
enough
look
to
it up.
understand
Look it up.
the
Not on a
innuendos.
work
Okay.
computer though. Look it up on your phone when you get outside of the studio.
Not about fruits.
It's absolutely not about fruit.
fruit.
What's next?
All right, guys, we have a bonus topic.
Oh,
There's the card.
This one comes from big-time fan of the show. Long live the Queen.
Here we go.
You asked for mean
Making fun
tweets,
of
he
me.
gave us a mean tweet. The best
All right.
30 seconds of today's show were the 30 seconds that Domonique was frozen.
That was a compliment, Dom.
Yeah,
you were
that
giving
wasn't
really
amazing.
good face
That was
in that
it.
30 seconds. Like it was.
Obviously.
It did take me about 20 of those seconds to figure out that Dom was frozen and not just like bored by our analysis. That's really what happened.
What's her name? Queen somebody? You're welcome, Queen.
Long live the Queen.
Long live the Queen. Look at that little Queen Elizabeth there.
Is
Can
a
you mail that to
Pistols
me?
reference, I guess.
That's all we got? Like, I'm the only one who takes a mean tweet? It's nothing for... Oh, speaking of Succession. Good tweet, bad tweet.
Bad tweet, bad tweet. Good tweet. Good tweet, bad tweet.
So, Alabaster, you owe me a good tweet.
Yeah, Alabaster, can we change this segment into good tweet, bad tweet?
Yes.
Come on, it's just right there in front of you.
From here on out.
Yeah, it's
That was
right
it.
there.
The only other tweet we got was about someone who sent Jacoby a very nice email
Aw.
because he used the Twitter account Jacoby House in 2015 and got a kind email from Jacoby.
Nice.
There's no other mean
Oh.
tweets.
Aw.
Huh. Well,
Jacoby's
I
a really
haven't-
nice guy.
It's when I look at, I don't really check my emails because it was cute when it said you got mail, but then it said there's 200 of them, so I just closed the desk, and then 18 years later they had to erase them all because I probably said something I shouldn't.
Let's have an emotional players only
Been
meeting.
holding back a Roy Williams impression for a few years now. Would you guys get mad at me if I told you that I fell asleep on the 3rd episode of Succession and haven't finished it yet?
No.
Oh, my wife has done that twice already.
No,
Twice.
I wouldn't get mad at you.
Twice.
Yeah, I'm over 35. Yeah, falling asleep
Yeah,
at random times, I approve of for anyone at any time. I fell asleep yesterday morning in the middle of Get Up. Just... What? What happened? Odell did what? Say who?
Get up.
Cowboys,
What a
Cowboys,
perfect show to
Cowboys.
fall asleep.
Yeah, that's it. I just woke up and said, Dak
How about
Prescott.
Cowboys?
Oh my gosh,
Dak
Cowboys.
Prescott? What?
What did he say? Huh? What?
Weapons. Cowboys have weapons. They have a lot of
A lot
weapons.
of, yeah, defense. Championship.
Parsons, man, that guy's good.
Jerry Jones.
Jones family.